It is Iddi Amin's torture chamber. It has so much attached to it. But let's get to listen from the guide himself.
My name is Elvis. I'm currently at the Iddi Amin's torture chamber, the place where thousands of Ugandans lost their lives. The place where we are, it was constructed in the 70s during the Iddi Amin's government. When he became president, this palace was already a barracks and soldiers were living around here. So he hired Israelis. Israelis during that period were known to be good architects. He brought them here to construct for him a place where he could store most of his weapons. So this place was more of an armory or a bunker where military weapons were stored. And this is the exact way how actually Israelis could build their bunkers. They hide them underground. And again, the truck would come in a reverse form, driven straight. This entrance had a strong metallic door which was only opened when the truck of weapons had arrived, so it could easily go inside in a reverse form. The place has its 5 cells, as we're going to see them, constructed on the height of the truck. So the truck could park on one of them, then opens up in the sides to the offloading of the weapons. After the 8 months, this place, the purpose was turned to a torture chamber. They started capturing those whom he suspected to be against the government. They could arrest wherever you are, turn your arms at the back, blindfold you, park you in the boot of the car, then drive you around the town for some good hours to mentally distract you so that when you reach here, you cannot tell where you are. Most of the people who died in this place, many thought they were far from the city Kampala, yet they were still within Kampala. So this made them unable to escape. Actually, over the country, it is estimated to be 25,000 Ugandans, but only here it is 19,000 Ugandans. And they were only men, because men are known to be frontliners in politics, especially intellectuals, lawyers, doctors, church priests, those who stood and spoke against the government. They're the ones who were tortured and were killed from here. All over the country, there were many places of the same kind, but since Uganda is a developing state, most of them have been destroyed. Some are now business centers which are no longer even visible. This is the only one which has been preserved and left intact to serve as an education purpose to the schools and also to serve as a tourist destination for the visitors who come here. Bodies were thrown out in the King's Lake, on the road to Skypo from rioting, others dumped in the River Nile. Many were buried within this palace. We have many mass graves which have not been identified. These atrocities happened both during the time of Iddi Amin and Milton Obote, because Obote came back for the second term and served up to 1985. So it's one of the reasons why even the king cannot sleep in his palace due to the bloodshed which took place here. Yeah.
So those that were buried outside, were they picked from here and buried outside, or they died and stayed in here?
Those, they were picked from here, the bodies, and they were buried within these palace grounds. Yeah.
So when you talked about how they were taken around town for distractions, were they blindfolded for them not to notice where they are?
Yes, they could blindfold you, then drive you around the town for some good hours to mentally distract you so that you couldn't notice where you are. Yep. So actually this was a trick actually of avoiding these people to escape. Because if you thought of escaping, you didn't know where you are. So it was a challenge for a path to take. So it couldn't be easy for someone to escape. Yeah. The floor was filled with water. We shall see the water line, and the water was later electrified, where other men were placed. For those who even failed to speak, they were electrocuted, and others were locked up inside the cells. Almost 100 men packed in one cell. Serious torture, hunger, and suffocation could kill them. Yeah, because the cells had sliding doors to lock them inside safely.
Does that mean the moment you entered here, there's no going back?
Yes.
If you're suspected and you're innocent?
Of course, there are many those who die not because they're guilty, just because you are suspected, of something.
Okay, let's go to the chambers.
Okay, so we're inside now, and these are the cells constructed on the level of the truck. So the truck would easily come, parks on one of them, then opens up in the side, so the offloading of the weapons, and each cell with a sliding door. After the 8 months, that's when the purpose changed, and the trucks could no longer enter. The floor was filled with water. You can still see the water line, and it was later electrified. The electric cables are also still visible, running through the walls to come and tap the water. So this is why they could put you in case you fail to speak, and they make you speak. Others pushed inside the cells and locked up in there, so they couldn't escape. These bunkers, they're always built with high concrete and very heavy beams, even resistant on explosion sometimes. So the whole place was electrified. That was the electric switch, and it had lights up here. So at times they could even do their activities in the night. We have some writings, but they're not very clear. We believe that one of the gentlemen who died here wrote them. They're in here. Then in Uganda, they saw Bottons. He said, "Naye abaana bange, Obote, you've killed me. How about my children?" He could have left them fatherless. Yeah, they're at the extreme end of the walls. Others, they're not very clear because it's now past almost 50 years when all this happened.
So that one talks about Obote.
Yes.
But then you talked about Iddi Amin.
Yes, as I said earlier, this place was used by 2 presidents. Iddi Amin used it up 1979, then Obote came back. Obote continued using this same place for the same purpose as revenge to Iddi Amin's men. Obote ruled from 1980 to 1985. Yeah, he was also continued using this same place. Yeah.
So those that died in here, are there any remains of bloodsheds probably on the walls? Or?
Blood cannot last up to date, so we don't have any blood here. Okay. Blood, when it somewhere turns to black, then it goes off. These black spots in here, most of them are bats droppings, but it's not blood. The remains, they cannot allow us to have remains here because the Constitution also protects the dead. We cannot use them as a tourist attraction here. They cannot allow us. Yeah.
You talked about the 5 chambers. Were it intentional? Does it have a story for specifically 5?
Yes, there are 5 because this place wasn't built as a torture chamber. It was a bunker, an armory for storage of the weapons. The idea of turning it to a torture chamber just came later. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Up to this side. So there are 5 chambers. Yeah. So you can see how muddy this is. We have even some scratches here on this one.
People trying to escape?
Yes, somebody, just believe that somebody even managed to scratch some of the bullet shots on the walls. 1, we have other 3 there, 1 below here, others covered with the cobweb. Yeah. So you can also see this when you visit the palace here in Mengo. Yeah.
So that one who wrote Obote was Samara.
Yes.
They were put with nothing. What did they write with?
We don't know, like, I don't know whether you watch some movies, you don't know what, you improvise what is there. I cannot tell that this person used this. Yeah. But we don't know, but they are still somehow sticking on the wall.